Hey guys, this is Brent Boyer from Adam. So I wanted to talk today about custody, how to get divorced without losing custody, or if you're not married, how to separate without losing custody of your child or your children, as the case may be. So there's definitely some strategies here to do, not to do, things to be doing at the beginning, the early stages of a custody case, before anybody's filed anything with the courts, before anything's happening, things to keep in mind. So I want to talk about those today as far as custody and how to avoid losing custody. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That'll help us out. So as far as custody, first of all, if you're living together, there's advantages to continue living together. You know, you don't want to be moving out and then trying to figure out what's going to go on with custody and parenting time if avoidable. So you don't want to be on the outside looking in, get evicted from your own life, either by choice or by demand, and now you're living somewhere else, and now the mother of the children has all the cards, the children are with her, she's at the house that you were sharing or the apartment, whatever it is, and you're living separately, and that's a bad start. It gives her kind of de facto custody, meaning she kind of has custody by the traditional meaning of that word, because the kids are with her, and now you're in the struggle of trying to get time with them. Can you see them? Can you not see them? When do you see them? How do you do all that? So to rewind and go back, the better move would have been to file a custody case, file whatever it might be. If you're getting divorced, file a divorce case and seek custody. Or if you're never married, file a custody or paternity case, get that started, be the first to start all that, and do so while you're still living together. If you're still living together at the beginning, it's possible to set up custody, and it's possible to get court orders signed even without a court hearing. So what are we talking about? Well, first of all, custody, there's two types of custody. There's legal custody and there's physical custody. So legal custody involves decision making for the child. If you have joint legal custody, that means you share in decision making, major decisions in their lives, major decisions like medical, schooling, religion, whatever it might be. So normally you would want to be sharing legal custody, so you'd have joint legal custody. Now, joint legal custody has nothing to do with when you see the kids or what the schedule is. That's the one part. So second part is the schedule. It's physical custody. So that involves where the kids live, where they stay, when you have them, when the mother or the child has them. So there's two categories, legal custody and physical custody. If you're still living together at the beginning stages of a custody or a divorce case, then you would want to pursue a court order to give you shared physical custody because you're under the same roof. You have shared custody, kind of by definition. That's the best time to be pursuing a decision about custody. Even if it's just temporary, it can start things off the right way. It can put you down the path towards getting more of a shared custody arrangement. It can set you up with doing joint legal custody right from the beginning and shared physical custody right from the beginning. And if you're living under the same roof, then you know when you're going to see your kids because you live with them. So that's always a much better start. Now, if you're living separately, you want to be much more cautious with your plan and how to do things. First of all, it makes a difference who files first. If you're living apart or living together, but especially living apart, you want to be filing first. You want to file for divorce or start a custody or paternity case first. Reason being, you can get court orders entered without a hearing, what are called ex parte orders. You can get those signed without a hearing that can affect custody, parenting time, and support. And if you leave that up to the mother or the child, either through divorce or a custody case, you can bet she's looking out to protect her own interests. She can get a temporary order giving her custody, giving you parenting time, or maybe not giving you parenting time, and setting up a child support number of what she feels is appropriate based on the situation. You can guess that that doesn't always work out so well for you. So to avoid those problems and avoid this path of losing custody really before you've even started, you would want to file first. The person who starts the litigation, they're the plaintiff. Typically in our legal system, the plaintiff is the victim. They're the one that's been wronged. So they file a lawsuit, they sue the other person, and they get some advantages. They have the upper hand. They're the wronged, they're the aggrieved party in the lawsuit. Same with family law. Whether it's a divorce, a custody case, a paternity case, I file first. Now I'm the plaintiff. I get the advantages of knowing when the court dates are happening, knowing when the lawsuit is starting, knowing when the other person is going to get served, and a lot of other advantages along the way, including getting court orders signed without a hearing just because I filed first. All things to keep in mind here when you're looking at how to avoid losing custody, how to avoid being down, having everything against you with a custody case before it's really even started, which is definitely how it can feel when you let the other person file first. So those are some thoughts to keep in mind, general ideas about custody, and custody and parenting time of course go hand in hand. But then when you're looking at, okay, so how is custody decided in Michigan and how to avoid losing custody? Well, Michigan law takes a look at custody and custody decisions based on what are called best interests of the child factors. So Michigan law looks at these 12 factors, the best interests of the child factors, and they include things like that are sort of hard to measure, like the love and affection, emotional ties involved. That one certainly is a factor that can favor the primary caregiver, the one that's been caring for the children. Who does the child go to for help, assistance, advice, whatever it might be, their basic needs. So that's a factor that they look at. They're also looking at how long you've been living. So if there's been an arrangement already in place, they're looking at what's called an established custodial environment, which is legal terms for a continued living arrangement. So if there's been a considerable amount of time that you and the mother of the children have been living separately, and the kids have been living with her, and there's been this arrangement established for 6 months, let's say, however long it is, and you have a schedule that you two have kind of loosely agreed on, that can carry a lot of weight when a legal case is started over custody or parenting time and paternity, divorce, or whatever it might be. And that can be in favor of the person who has those children. So the primary caregiver can be on a road towards getting custody right away. If there's been this arrangement where you're living apart for a considerable amount of time, there's what's called an established custodial environment with you or with the other parent. Either way, that can be a big advantage when you're looking at things, and that's certainly one factor. And then they're looking at what kind of permanence there is, what family unit you have, what family unit she has. Have you been living apart and have your own household set up? Or, like we say, if you're still living together, that's a good time to start a custody, divorce case, whatever it might be, because none of that's been established yet. So you're even on that factor, and you're kind of equal on that factor. And they look at other things like moral fitness of the parties, mental health issues. We're looking at does someone have problems that would make them unfit to care for the children as a parent? Is there drug use? Is there alcohol abuse? Is there mental health issues? So those are also factors that get considered with custody and determining custody. So it can certainly be a lot to it. It's worthwhile to have a game plan going into it of knowing where you stand, when you see the kids, how you interact with your kids, who their teachers are, what their activities are, what their schedule is. You want to be aware of all that going into it so you don't get blindsided with discussions about those things and you have no idea what's going on because you're at work all week. So those are all some considerations when you're looking at how to decide custody, how to avoid losing custody in a divorce or a custody case that gets filed. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. Thanks.